Good morning. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Miss Fran, and I am ready for story time from Reed Memorial Library. Are you? I hope so. Here we go. Let's sing our opening song. If you'd like to read a book, clap your hands. If you'd like to read a book, clap your hands. If you'd like to read a book, come on close and take a look. If you'd like to read a book, clap your hands. Are you clapping along with me? If you'd like to read a book, stomp your feet. If you'd like to read a book, stomp your feet. If you'd like to read a book, come on close and take a look. If you'd like to read a book, stomp your feet. If you'd like to read a book, shout hooray, hooray! If you'd like to read a book, shout hooray, hooray! If you'd like to read a book, come on close and take a look. If you'd like to read a book, shout hooray, hooray! I think I could hear you all the way here at the library. You must be ready for a book this morning. Well, the first book we're going to read is called The Christmas Barn. Now you'll notice on the front of this book, there's a big white sticker. I got this book from Search, Ohio, meaning it was at another library here in Ohio. And you can use that service too and bring in books from all over. This is a cool book because a lot of the books we read are stories that are made up. But this is a real story that actually happened at Christmas time. And it's called The Christmas Barn. It's by John and Jennifer Churchman. Can you see what's in the background there? Can you see in the picture? It's a photograph of a beautiful barn with Christmas lights on it. It's a brand new book, so the pages are a little hard to turn. The sheepdogs watched out the farmhouse window as the rain came down. The autumn storm was fierce. It tossed the colorful leaves around, and the trees bent low in the wind. Crack! In the forest, a tree fell to the ground. The next morning, after the storm had passed, Farmer John went to look for the fallen tree. He found the old pine tree lying on the forest floor. It had been the tallest tree on Moonrise Farm for over 150 years. Can you see in the picture how big the trunk of that tree was? He thought, maybe the tree can have another life. Maybe we can make a special Christmas gift for all the animals. That night, Farmer John and his wife, Farmer Jennifer, drew up the plans. Over the next few days, Farmer John turned the old pine tree into logs. And he rolled the logs into a big pile with his tractor. He studied the plans for the animals' gift. There was a lot of work to do before Christmas. Joy, the alpaca, stopped to watch as he worked. She moved slowly. Her belly was big and round. James, the sawyer, milled the logs into boards. Whir, whir, risp, rasp went the sawmill. And the chickens and the ducks and the turkeys and the geese came running, curious to see what was going on. What is this? Cluck, cluck. What is that? Quack, quack. Early the next morning, Farmer John started building the special Christmas gift for the animals. First, he cleared a space in the woods right where the old pine tree had fallen. And then he marked where the walls would go with ribbons and stakes. The sound of Farmer John's hammer rang out through the forest. Thunk, thunk, thunk. You see his big hammer pounding in the stakes? Finn and Sweet Pea the sheep watched through the pasture fence as he worked. They looked at each other and they looked back again. What can it be? What can it be? Farmer John worked every day for many weeks as the weather turned colder and colder. Brr, brr, went the drill as he made the walls and a roof. He looked up at the sky. Winter will be here any day now, he said. I'll have to hurry. The alpacas picked their way through the trees to see what Farmer John was doing. Joy put her nose in the air. Sniff, sniff, snuffle, snuffle. Something smelled different in the forest. Right? Don't they have cute faces, the alpacas? Farmer John was almost finished with the frame. Snow's coming, he said to himself. He could see his breath in the chilly air. Meadow the lamb wandered up to see what he was doing. She gave a soft bah when he saw her. Don't worry, little one, he said. I'm making something to keep you warm all winter. As he turned back to his work, Farmer John heard the crunch, crunch, crunch of leaves. Someone was coming up the path. It was Farmer Richard, with a box full of tools. Could I lend a hand? Called the old friend. Why, yes, said Farmer John. And together they made the doors and the windows and a beautiful cupola for the roof that afternoon. I think the dogs are trying to help too. All the next day, Farmer John painted, split, splat, swish, swash, went his brush with the dark red paint. The Highland cows, they swung their horns this way and that to stay warm, murmuring to each other in gentle moos as they watched. It would snow soon, he thought. No time to waste. Can you see him up there on the ladder? And he's painting the barn. The sheep watched as the first snowflakes fell onto their thick woolly coats, and the alpacas huddled around Joy to keep her warm, their feet getting frosty on the snow-covered ground. Can you see the snowflakes coming down? Look, there's snow on the branches of the trees. That afternoon, as the snow grew deeper, Farmer John spent his time inside building pins and feeders. He then decorated the gates with balsam garlands, and he added something special to the hayloft window. Looks like he's decorating the barn for Christmas. Early the next morning, Farmer John heard a truck rumble, rumble, rumble up the lane, and it was his friend, Farmer Roger, bringing a load of hay to fill the loft. Sadie the pony looked over the fence. Hey, sweet hay, nay, she said. The sheepdogs watched thoughtfully from the hillside as the snow started again, falling gently all around them. Farmer John worked all day and into the night, for tomorrow was Christmas Eve. Look what's up there in the hayloft window. It's a Christmas tree, isn't it? Oops, this page won't turn. Come on, new book, turn. There we go. When the sun rose the next morning over the snow-covered farm, the special gift for the animals was done. A barn for Christmas, made from the wood of the old pine tree. Farmer John and Farmer Jennifer couldn't wait to show the animals their new home. They brought everyone in from the snowy pasture and gave them fresh hay and took them to their soft beds. Joy, the alpaca, was the last to come in. Farmer John had made a special place for her right by the window. And that evening, as the animals were settling in, they heard the jingle of bells. And the alpacas and sheep looked up from their hay, and the chickens scurried toward the barn door. It was their neighbor, Farmer Marriott, with her donkeys. They carried baskets of pumpkins and apples and corn. Is that for us? Is that for us? Said the alpacas. Thank you for the wonderful gift, said Farmer John. The donkeys replied with a loud ee-haw, but Farmer Marriott just smiled with a twinkle in her eyes. A full moon rose high in the sky that night, rare for Christmas Eve. But inside the barn, all warm, Joy gave birth to a little baby alpaca called a cria. The animals gathered around to welcome the baby alpaca to the farm. And you see the little baby alpaca is nursing milk from his mom. Aw, I think we'll call her Hope, whispered Farmer John. Look how cute she is. Farmer John walked outside. It was peaceful and the snow sparkled in the moonlight. He set his hand on the stump of the old pine tree. You have a new life now. You've become a very fine barn, he said. A Christmas barn for everyone. He smiled and spoke softly to the animals, safe and snug in their new home. Merry Christmas, he said. Merry Christmas to you all. And there's a picture of the barn all lit up for Christmas. And there's Farmer Jennifer and Farmer John holding the baby alpaca, Hope. Isn't that a nice story about something that really happened? He took a fallen tree and made it into a barn. I like that. A gift for the animals for Christmas. Did you notice all the snow that was falling? That barn is out east and a little bit north of here. They get lots of snow. We're lucky to get snow too. So I have a song I'd like to sing with you this morning. It's an action song and it's called Snowflakes, Snowflakes. And I'm going to sing it slowly so you can kind of get the words. They're not hard. But I'm going to do the actions and you follow along with the actions even if you don't know the words, okay? All right. It goes like this. Snowflakes, snowflakes all around in the sky and on the, let's go down, everybody go down, on the ground. Some are big and some are small. Can you make yourself really small? Roll it into a snowball. When the sun comes out to play, watch them as they melt away. What does the snow make when it melts? Makes a little puddle of water, doesn't it? You make yourself into a puddle of water? Okay, let's do it again one more time. You see if you can sing it with me. And we're going to do it like we're those very gently floating snowflakes that are just floating down. So we're going to do it kind of slow this time. You do it with me, okay? Here we go. Snowflakes, snowflakes all around in the sky and on the ground. Some are big and some are small. Make yourself tiny. Roll them into a snowball. When the sun comes out to play, watch them as they melt away. Okay, now those look like snowflakes that would be on a beautiful day where the snow is floating softly to the ground. But the last time we had a snow here in the Ravenna area, it was a blizzard. And the wind was blowing and the snow was blowing. So let's sing it this time as if it's a blizzard and the snow is coming down hard and fast with that wind, okay? So let's get the wind going. Whoosh, whoosh. Can you make it blow with me? Whoosh. Snowflakes, snowflakes all around in the sky and on the ground. Some are big and some are small. Roll them into a snowball. When the sun comes out to play, watch them as they melt away. Really good. That was fun, wasn't it? Snowflakes, snowflakes all around. I heard we might get a little bit of snow this week, but we'll just have to wait and see. Well, the next thing I want to do with you is something a little bit different. My scissors and my paper are going to help me tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a story about a boy named Benny. And Benny did not live in Ohio. Benny lived someplace in the South. Maybe he lived in Florida or Louisiana or Alabama, where they don't get very much snow, or maybe southern Texas. They don't see snow down there very often at all. And he heard one day from his father that snow was coming. Right before his father left for work in the morning, he said, "Benny, I hear we're supposed to see some snow today." And Benny was so excited. "I have never seen snow before, Father," he said. Father said, "Keep your eyes open, watch out the window." So Benny went and he got a seat right by the window in the living room, looking outside in the front yard. And he sat there with his eyes open, watching, peering out that window. It wasn't too long before his mother came down the stairs and she said, "Benny, it's time for breakfast. Come in the kitchen and eat your breakfast." And Benny said, "Oh, Mother, please don't make me come in and eat breakfast right now. I'm really not hungry. I want to watch carefully for the snow." And his mother said, "Well, okay, if you're sure you're not too hungry, you can sit by the window and watch for the snow." So Benny sat by that window all morning and watched, but he didn't see any snowflakes. And about lunchtime, Benny's mother came back and said, "Benny, it's time for lunch." And Benny said, "Oh, Mother, I'm really not very hungry. I would really like to stay and watch the snowflakes. I've never seen a snowflake before." And his mother said, "Well, I'm a little bit worried about you being too hungry. You've got to keep your strength up." But Benny just pleaded with her and said, "Oh, Mother, please, please, just let me sit by the window and see the snowflake." She said, "Okay, this one time you can sit and watch for the snow, because we don't see snow very often ever." And so Benny sat by the window and he watched all afternoon. Well, about the middle of the afternoon, Benny's tummy was starting to grumble and he was starting to feel very hungry. So when Mother came back at supper time and she said, "Benny, it's time to eat supper. I really would like you to come in and eat now." Benny said, "I am so hungry, Mother. I really do need to come in the kitchen and eat supper, but I'm so afraid that I will miss the snowfall." But he said, "I can't wait any longer. I have to come in." So Benny came into the kitchen table, and the first thing Mother gave him was a hamburger. And he was so hungry. He went like that. And he ate the whole hamburger all up. And he said, "Mother, I'm still pretty hungry. Is there anything else that you have that I could eat?" And she said, "Okay, Benny, how about a taco? Would you like to eat a taco?" There was meat and cheese and lettuce and good sauce on that taco. And Benny folded it together and he went, and he ate it all up. It was all gone. So he said, "Mother, I'm still a little bit hungry. Do you have anything else that maybe I could eat that would go along with the other food that you've given me? It was so good, but I'm still hungry." Mother said, "Well, I do have one slice of pizza left. Would you like the pizza that's left? It has a couple of pepperonis on it." And Benny said, "Oh, that looks delicious." And once again, he went, and he ate it all up. And he said, "Mother, that tasted so good. Thank you so much for giving me supper." And she said, "Well, for dessert, I have a little tiny slice of pie left." And he wasn't so hungry anymore, but boy, did that pie look good. So Benny took a bite right off the end of the pie. He liked the pie at the end, but he remembered that the part of the pie he liked the best was the crust. Oh, his mother made a yummy crust. And so he took 3 bites of crust right across the top. He said, that was so good. But he also knew that there were all kinds of good fruits in the pie. So he took some bites along the edge of the pie too. Can you see? He's taken some bites along the edge. I'm going to have to get the vacuum cleaner and clean up this pie when I'm all done. And he took 3 bites on one side, but oh, he was starting to get kind of full. So on the other side, he just took a couple of bites because he just felt like his tummy couldn't hold any more food. Oh, Mother, I am so full, but I need to go back by the window and watch again to see if there's any snow. I really want to see my first snowflake. And so Benny ran back to the living room window, and when he looked out, I'm going to show you what he saw floating past his window. A snowflake. And it was gently falling down into his front yard. And he saw snowflakes all around, in the air and on the ground. Some were big and some were small. He couldn't roll them into a snowball though, because there just weren't that many, because he was too far south, but he got to see snow for the very first time. Wasn't that a cool story? How Benny's food eventually turned into the snowflake? I like that one. Maybe we'll put that over here for later. We can hang it up somewhere in the library. All right. Well, I have one last book that I wanted to show you. This book kind of talks about what snow is. And the name of the book is I Am Snow. And it's by Jean Marzillo, which kind of rhymes with snow, Marzillo and snow. And the illustrations are by Judith Moffat. And I really like the illustrations. I'll show you why. Here it says, I Am Snow by Jean Marzillo. I like the illustrations because the illustrator cut them out of paper. Like she used green paper and she cut out the branches of the pine tree and she cut out the raindrops. She cut out the little birds. I just think she did a really interesting job how she did that. The book says, I am not rain. I do not drip, drip, drip. I am not hail. I do not bounce, bounce, bounce. Look at that little chipmunk watching it bounce on the ground. I am not ice. I do not crack, crack, crack. Watch out, Mr. Goose. That ice you're standing on is cracking. You'll end up falling in the water. I am snow. I fall gently, gently, gently. Look at all those pretty snowflakes. They look like they're cut out of paper too. I am a million, billion, trillion snowflakes all piled up in a heap. There's a little fox looking at all that snow. Each snowflake is a crystal, and each crystal has 6 sides. If you catch one on your mitten, are there 6 points? Yes. A snowflake is made of a tiny little droplet of water frozen around a piece of dust from the air, and it makes something so beautiful. There's some more pictures of snowflakes. From afar, all snowflakes look the same, but up close, you can see them better. Each snowflake is a little bit different. Some snow is wet and sticky. Wet snow makes good snow people. Like looks like a snow mama and a snow baby. And it makes good snowballs. And some snow is dry and fluffy, and that is easy to shovel. There's a boy helping to shovel, and the birds and the cat are watching him. Who loves snow? Well, skiers love snow, and snowboarders love snow. Snowshoe hikers, here's a man on snowshoes, and snow sliders. He's got an inner tube, there's a saucer and a sled. They're ready to slide down that hill. Artists, they love snow too. This artist cut snowflakes from tissue paper. And in this book, if you turn the page, it shows you how to cut snowflakes, folding the paper and then cutting just like Miss Fran did when I was cutting it for the story. You cut away some of it, and before you know it, you've got a beautiful snowflake. What happens to cold snow in warm weather? You know what happens. It melts, doesn't it? Like in our song, it melts away. And then just like the rain, it goes drip, drip, drip. Isn't that a cute book? I am snow. Okay, well, in your kit, you got paper that had a snowflake on it. And here's the one I used for the picture. You also got a little bag. My bag is kind of big, but you got a little bag of tissue paper. Now, tissue paper can be really tricky because it's super thin and it's hard to pick up sometimes, and it also gets like static electricity in it, so it sticks to everything. So what I did was I took my glue stick and I put glue stick right on where I was going to stick it. I put a little glue on my finger, stuck it to the paper, and that made it stick right on. So if you fill up your whole paper with the tissue paper following the 6 branches of that beautiful crystal snowflake, then you'll have a really pretty snowflake that you can hang on your refrigerator. You could punch a hole in it at the top, maybe put a string on it and hang it up somewhere in a window. That would be really pretty. So I hope you enjoy making that pretty snowflake. I enjoy watching them come down. I hope we get to see some pretty soon. Okay, well, I'm glad you came today. And I'm going to remind everyone that this is my last story time until after the holidays. And so if you go on to the events page on the website, you can sign up again for the story times that will start the first week of January. Miss Haley's story time she's going to have her last one on Thursday, and then there'll be a sign up for her as well in the first week of January. So please come back and join us then. But I'm glad you came today. I'm glad you came today. I hope that you will come again. I'm glad you came today. Sing with me. I'm glad you came today. I'm glad you came today. I hope that you will come again. I'm glad you came today. Have a happy holiday, and I'll see you next year.